Carl Coulange for the Sports Hit List. By the fans and for the fans, thank you for joining me on another special edition Zoom, the post-NFL draft. We have a star-studded cast today, so I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to say what's up to you first and foremost. Let's go to Greg Polius. The Jet fan is in the building. Greg, what's going on, bro?
What's going on? Let's go, Jets. I just want to say, Carl, that is the most Haitian shirt you have ever worn.
You know what? I wore it just for you, man. Sac passe. You know I had to rep.
I knew it.
Just for you. I knew you were coming on the show. I had to have it. We have the reigning defending MVP, Paul Lawson. He's acting like Miss Cleo driving and talking over there. MVP.
Where's the shower cap?
Where's the shower cap?
I got the Tiger Woods shower cap, baby. You know, he'll do it the authentic way.
All right, we got Travis. Travis, did you do your homework this time? Right?
Yes, Professor. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready for class. You know what I mean?
You're good.
Everything's prepped and ready to go. Let's rock.
All right, and we got two people from the crazy state of Florida. First, we have Miami Dolphins. We have Rick. Rick's in the building.
Yo, Sport His List. What up, man? What's good, fellas?
And we have Ray. Ray is in the building. Ray, thanks for joining me. Back-to-back nights, man. You did the Last Dance, and now you're switching to football today.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy to be here. You know.
All right. So the first thing I want to get into is your grades for your teams and how they did in the draft. Let's start with the MVP because we are New York. Sorry, Florida. We got to start with the home team in New York. So I'm going
for
with
starters,
that.
I just want to go out there and say, hey, Carl, thank you for wearing that shirt because I never knew how to spell "stop I say." So I might even hit y'all with an Instagram post one day now that I got the spelling for Haiti.
No problem, bro. I got you covered. I got you.
But more importantly, you know, I want to go out there and announce that I am not a Giants fan. However, I have my eye on the Jets. I have my eye on the Giants. So I've elected to vote on the Giants grade. And without further ado, I'm going to give the Giants an A, and I'm going to tell you why. They secured the greatest asset in protecting Daniel Jones by drafting my man Thomas out of Georgia. Super, super talented, big. I think he's going to start left tackle. Nate Soldier's going to shift to right. That's my prediction to shore up that offensive line. And then again, arguably, I think is the best defensive back in the draft, and Xavier McKinney. I think the Giants have set themselves up for a strong future. Paired up with their free agent moves. I mean, they made obviously a lot of other moves down later in the draft that some of those guys aren't worth mentioning on this chat for time's sake. But I think if you pair those two guys alone with the guys they brought in, Blake Martinez running the center and the middle linebacker slot, I think the Giants' future is extremely bright. So the Giants, for me, got an A. At first, I was A-, but I nudged them up to an A because they got it done. They got it done the right way.
Okay. Soka, Greg, what do you got for your Jets? You going with the A too or no?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to give Douglas an A for his first draft. And here's why. We would have liked – I mean, on the board you had Jedrick Wills at left tackle as well, who was off the board, as well as Thomas, who the Giants took. So Becton was the next in line on their board, and they got their man. And just like the Giants, they shored up that left tackle spot with a big body, 6'7", 370 pounds. You know, that's going to protect Sam Darnold. We haven't drafted a left tackle since 2006 in the first round to Brickashaw Ferguson, who was, you know, a mainstay in our organization. But I think what really pushed this draft over the edge for me was Douglas's ability to trade back in the second round and still get his receiver in Denzel Mims, who was a big body outside target that the Jets haven't had since maybe, I don't know, Keyshawn Johnson is in terms of big targets. Quincy Enunwa is a big target, but he's not somebody that can stretch the field with his speed. I know a lot of people question the Ashton Davis pick in terms of his position because he's a free safety, but Davis also has the ability to play cornerback, and he's one of the fastest defensive backs in the draft. I think he was the fastest at that position. So you can't really be mad at that. That's a case of, you know, drafting talent, not necessarily the need. And my most important pick, honestly, outside of all of those, there's two picks. One, getting Perine out of Florida as our backup running back for the future. I really like Perine, especially as a Gators fan. So that's big for me. But getting Morgan, the backup quarterback, I believe it was the 4th or 5th round. We had Luke from accounting who couldn't lead a fish to water if he had to because we went 12 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown with him under center. So now we actually, what I hope is a competent backup where we don't have to throw away 4 or 5 games if Sam Darnold happens to meet some random chick at Scores in New York City.
All right,
Let
so
me
we
go
have
tell
2
y'all
A's.
that.
We have 2 A's coming out of New York. Cowboy Nation, the America's team. We going with the A2 or no? You going for a clean A or no?
You know, what my thing with the draft is, we really don't know what guys are gonna do. So I like the picks, but as of right now, I mean, I'm gonna give it a incomplete. I'm gonna have to wait 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Bogus.
Incomplete.
Exactly what they
I
did.
feel like, whoa, I feel like
That's
that's
a cop out, bro.
Whoa.
It's not a
You got to give us something.
Listen, we can say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, none of us really know what these players are gonna do. You know?
I mean,
So-
you got a wide receiver 1 at 17.
Let me
Right.
explain. Let me
He gave
explain.
him-
You know,
Then
I'm not- I was never-
y'all got one of the top corners out of Bama right there. Y'all feel some needs. I like the Cowboys draft, but hey,
I mean,
shit,
But
the
hey,
draft
you
is
give him
good.
an incomplete, it's an incomplete. It is what it is, right?
Let
You
me
know what
see. I
this
mean,
is?
because you
This
never
is
know,
him
'cause, you
treading
know, we got some
lightly
good
because he
players.
doesn't want to be proven wrong in a future
Right.
Pro Bowl.
He's hedging his bets. He's hedging his bets.
He the only Cowboy fan that's not an over optimist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He
where
just out here
the
trying to-
boys at,
So,
man? Where the boys?
let's shoot up to Trav. Trav, what do you have your Panthers? What grade are you giving them?
Man, I'm a hard grader around here, man. I'm giving them a C+. All right.
B plus. Okay.
First,
Above average. Okay.
First of all, I realized that they went and recognized the needs because all players was drafted on defense. But in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of Derek Brown. I don't see the game. To me, if you're drafting a player in the top 10, I need a game record.
He
know
is
what I mean?
one.
Nah, he's a run stopper. I don't see an Ndamukong Suh, a Gerald McCoy, an Aaron Donald, a
He's
J.J.
good, bro.
Watt. He's more of a run stopper.
Do you need your eyes checked?
He's good, bro. He's
He
a
gives
hard.
me. Hold on. Derek Brown gives me Nick Fairley vibes. All right. Maybe it's the Auburn uniform, but I don't see a player who's gonna go out and give me 12 plus sacks from that defensive tackle position. He's 326 pounds.
I don't
He's gonna
think he was drafted for the sacks per se, though.
All right then, but if you drafted in the top 10, that's what I need out of that defensive tackle right there. I need a game changer, not a run stuffer.
You guys got all the whole draft was
I see.
defense.
Then we came back in the second round with the defensive end out of Penn State. I mean, I think he's more of a project. He's got some talent. I'm interested to see where we put him at because you still got. I'm interested to see what we do with Brian Burns. If we're gonna put him at the defensive end in our standard 4-3 package, or we're gonna put him at that Sam linebacker on first and second down, and then let him come to the defensive end spot on third down. Because if so, I want to see where we flip them at. But the safety we came back and got in the third round, I kind of like that kid. He seems like he's got a lot of potential. But my problem is, at that, what did we pick at 8 or whatever? I would have liked to see Isaiah Simmons come off the board for us right there.
I actually agree with that.
I didn't see a replacement for Luke Kuechly. I didn't see a replacement for Greg Olsen. I didn't see a replacement for Trey Turner.
You guys all went defense. Carolina went defense
exactly,
the whole draft.
But I didn't see those replacements for those players right there. So I got to give us a C+. I understand our defense was super trash last year, worse than franchise history. So I understand drafting every player on defense right there, but I just don't approve of some of the players we selected.
Okay, so far we have 2 A's.
Let me just address the cookie man himself, Travis, real quick. First of all, where are my cookies, all right? My wife wants to know this. So that's the first thing. Second thing, nobody in America seen Aaron Donald getting 20 sacks coming out of the combine and when they drafted him. You don't see guys like Aaron Donald on draft day.
But they're different. Him, J.J. Watt, and Ndamukong Suh, Gerald McCoy. Those are just some of the top defensive tackles that have come out.
Those are the guys that turn.
Okay, gentlemen, just give me
exactly.
one
But
second.
at the top 10, that's what I need right there.
Guys. Before you get into it, I got to get to Rick. He's been patiently waiting. So the Dolphins. What grade are you giving them? What grade are you giving the Dolphins?
All right, man. So listen, I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna give my Dolphins a B plus, man.
B plus. Okay.
coming off of what was supposed to be a historically tragic and terrible season, the whole notion was tank for Tua the whole time, you know what I mean? And so to be able to go through the season the way we did, pick up those wins where everybody's like, what are the Dolphins doing winning if they want to do this? Everybody's like, oh, well, y'all could have had Burrow and this, and that. Let's start right at the top at the first pick, man. I mean, Tua was the plan from jump. We stuck to the plan regardless of what happened last season. We had an independent doctor go out and give him a physical. We got the all clear on that, thumbs up. They did a great job of launching these fake smoke screens ahead of the draft just to make sure to kind of position themselves to make sure that the Chargers didn't try to creep up and grab Tua, because the Chargers really, really wanted Tua too. So, if we were able to convince them that we might be going Herbert and they felt, well, maybe we could stand back and grab Tua after that, and it worked in our favor and we got Tua, hey, I'm all for it. I was locked in on Tua from jump. It had to be the pick. As I mentioned in my pre-draft wish list video, it's like I'd much rather pick him and it'd be the wrong decision than not pick him and it'd be the wrong decision. So I was extremely happy there. Coming into it, I wanted us to address that quarterback position. In the first round specifically, I wanted the quarterback position. We needed a lineman. We needed a stud on defense. I think we hit on all three of those. We definitely would have preferred to have Wirfs at the O line, and Tampa probably knew that as well, which is the reason why they might have traded up to get him. You know what I'm saying? But we did good bringing in Jackson anyway. So down at the end, bringing in Igby, I was a little thrown off by that because I thought, for sure McKinney would have been the guy we would have went with, but having Bobby McCain shifting him from a nickelback over to the safety and bringing Igby into that nickel position to replace him, I think it makes sense as far as what they did there and not getting McKinney. A lot of other really good things they did in the draft, specifically shoring up both lines, the defensive line and the offensive line, which have been, Swiss cheese for us for years and years and years now, to the point where my man Ray said, you never know what's going to happen. We don't know if these guys are going to hit or not, but we went and got quality guys at a few of our key positions where we've got 3-4 guys now that we can kind of test out and see, hey, if 2 of them hit, that's 50%. If 2 of these O linemen or D linemen hit for us, then that's a banger. You know what I mean? So definitely like what they did top to bottom, specifically down at the end, grabbing, off the top of my head, I can't remember his name, quarterback out of Navy. He's an athlete. Obviously he's not going to play quarterback. He's coming in as a wide receiver, little slash guy that can kind of get the ball, make some things happen. Even that at the last pick of the draft, at our last pick of the draft, is somebody I feel like is going to come in and add a little something extra to the offense. So I love what the Dolphins did in their draft, especially when you put together what they've been doing, since the season ended too.
Okay, cool. So Travis, what would you say is the team that are the winner? If you had to pick one team that was the winner and one team that's a loser from the draft overall, who would you go with?
I mean, if I had to pick a winner, I would go with the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I mean, you go right there, the number 1 pick, you nail that with Joe Burrow coming off the greatest college football season of all time. Mm-hmm. You get your quarterback of the future. He's the hometown hero. He's from the area. He'll put fans in the seats. And then you come back in the second round.
Fans this year. I mean, that's still up for debate.
Right, but it's going on toward the future. Eventually, once we get back to normal, he's a hometown kid, so he's going to bring that fan base in there. Then you come back at the top of the second round, you get T. Higgins, who can be somewhat of a A.J. Green type replacement. I'm not going to say he is A.J. Green because A.J. Green is a freak of nature, but he's a tall, lanky, fast receiver with a big catch radius. So you pair him up there with A.J. Green because he's on a franchise tag. Who knows how much longer he's going to be there. You still got John Ross. Hopefully you get the John Ross from the beginning of last season when he started to ball out before he got hurt. And then you got Joe Mixon in the backfield. And then you get – the Bengals are technically getting 2 first-round picks because their first-round pick from 2 years ago, the offensive lineman, he didn't play it down last year. So he's a very versatile lineman out of Alabama. I don't know where exactly they're going to put him. He played in 3 or so different spots. So getting him could help boost that offensive line. I mean, from a talent-wise, the Bengals offense has the potential to look very LSU type, very from explosion-wise, with all those wide receivers and Joe Mixon in the backfield. So I think they did a very good job. They also got a couple of linebackers, which I like, to help boost up that defense. I think they had a great draft right there. They are really set up for the future. If I had to pick a loser, I would probably go with the Chicago Bears. I mean, it wasn't a very strong tight end class, so they drafted who was probably the best tight end in the draft, if not for most expert opinions. But they already had Jimmy Graham. We all know Jimmy Graham is already over the hill. At this point, they got like 10, 15 tight ends on their roster, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what they expect to do all those tight ends. But I feel like there were reports that they don't believe that they're going to pick up the fifth-year option on their quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, which, say what you want about Mitchell Trubisky, I'm not a big fan of him either. But if you're not going to pick up that fifth-year option, that kind of tells me you're out on him. So why not draft Eason or Fromm in the later rounds and then start grooming one of them to take over in 2021? So, I mean, I just feel they could have done better in that draft, but we'll see what happens.
All right, so Travis, would we all say that his pick as a winner is across the board, or does anybody else have another winner? Would we say everyone is in agreement with the Bengals or no?
No.
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 I mean,
so Ray, who's your
I could
winner?
have picked another team. I'm just trying to spread the love around, you know.
So Ray, who's your winner?
So listen, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Generally, I'm very biased, and most of y'all know I badmouth my team a lot. You know what I mean? I've been a Dolphins fan for a long time, which means I've been miserable for a long time. So
no, it's okay because we have Greg, who's been miserable for his whole life, for all of his teams. So,
Right.
Good.
So,
And he's passing it on to his children.
I know, that's even worse. Did you see Little Man? Oh,
Losing
man.
Bill's character.
yo,
Nah, you're supposed to want better for your children, Greg. Come on now.
nah, but listen, in an effort to not be redundant, unfortunately, I gotta say that, you know, not just with my fandom, I feel like the Dolphins are the winner of the draft just because, again, you go out and you get your quarterback, the guy you've had your eye on for over a year now. And more importantly, the Dolphins' run defense and run offense have been miserable. Outside of the little flashes that we've seen from Kenyon Drake here and there, and obviously he's not on the team no more, so that doesn't even count. When you're able to really solidify the point of attack the way they were able to, and the reason why I call them winners is not just because of what they were able to do in the draft specifically, but when you put that in conjunction of what they did in free agency, they brought some bullies onto this roster in the past 4 or 5 months. The Dolphins are going to be a completely different team the next time they hit the field. And there's going to be some other teams that are not going to be, you know, kind of expecting it or used to it, you know. But we got some dogs on there, on the line, in that defensive backfield. I was a little kind of annoyed that we kept passing over the running back position, especially when the Ravens snatched up Dobbins 1 pick ahead of us. I lost my mind, man. Like, legit, I thought for sure he was going to be our guy there. I wanted Cam Akers bad. But coming into the draft, any of y'all, if somebody says y'all can have Matt Breida for a 5th-round pick, I'm sure you would have taken him for your team. So that, to me, kind of really washed away all of that passing on the running backs and whatnot, where they could have had Swift if they wanted, they could have had Dobbins if they wanted, you know?
Yeah.
So the last point I'm going to make as far as them being a winner, and you could quote me on this, give it about 2, maybe 3 years, the Dolphins' defense is going to be the best defense in the league.
Well, you know what? I think with your division is going to be interesting this year, especially, and we mentioned this in our last show, Tom Brady's not in that division, so it's a matter of which team now will come out of that AFC East. So
up for grabs, man. It's up for grabs. I love it.
So, Greg, what do you think in terms of winner? Who won the draft overall in terms of a team for you?
In terms of winners, I mean, it's a toss-up between the Vikings and the 49ers, but I'm going to go with the Niners simply because I know everybody was shocked they drafted a D tackle at, I think it was 14 or 15, but they got Buckner left. Now they're getting a D tackle under control for 4 or 5 years at like $18 million cheaper. So that's a win there. Ayuk, I thought was a slight reach, but I understand the upside after him performing with Harry gone this year. So, but the big reason they're the winner, even though they traded Breida for the 5th-round pick, the fact that they're able to bring in Trent Williams and solidify their line after having one of the best run games in the league after going to the Super Bowl to me, puts them in position to, one, not have to depend on Jimmy G's arm. They can still, have the run game pace them. But I feel like they did a good job, bringing that team back and putting the pieces around for them to succeed even further in the NFC West.
All right.
I'll tell you what. Hold on. Let me jump in real quick. I'll agree with that. That Trent Williams acquisition, that was sneaky good, man. Like, I saw that come through. I was like, what? That was
everybody looked at it like, wait a minute.
That was clutch.
All right. So, Ray, who do you think is the winner overall in terms of teams in the draft?
He's not going to give us the winner. He's going to give us an incomplete.
To me, the winner is the Colts. I like the Colts.
The Colts.
Yeah.
Okay. You like the Colts.
I like the Colts. Like I said, they traded their first round draft pick for Buckner. So they got a D lineman, a proven D lineman. He's going to be a little expensive, but he's proven. Second round, they got Pittman, and then they traded up to go get Jonathan Taylor. I think he's really going to be impactful right away for them, especially because I think their O-line was probably top 5. With him and Marlon Mack there, they're going to really be doing something, a real good tandem right there. They also picked up this safety from Utah. I mean, a couple nights I have actually watched Utah play. Utah has a lot of good players that coached up well, and I liked him. He really popped out on the screen for me. So that was a good pick in the third. And then they got their quarterback, Eason, to groom him up until they get rid of Phillip Rivers or whatever they decide to do with him. So I think the Colts did a hell of a draft. They got one great draft.
Okay. We're running short up on time.
I can say one thing about the Colts. I think they did a beautiful job of drafting not only to add players that will help them win now, but also setting up for their future.
Yeah,
exactly. The Packers might need to take note on that.
Okay. And lastly, MVP, who is your winner for the 2020 NFL Draft?
Hey, man, they always say the rich get richer. And I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll tell you why. When they took Patrick Queen in the first round, Lamar Jackson, the MVP himself, from MVP to MVP, dubbed him as Ray Lewis Jr. Now, that might be an oversight, but I will say this. Patrick Queen can run 40-40, dash from the sidelines.
Patrick Queen fell to them. Crazy.
And he also is an amazing tackler, right? So when you think about somebody who can play in that system, speed matters from a zone defense perspective, but Patrick Queen is going to do damage. And then in round 2, you go out there and get probably the best running back draft.
Don't even say it out loud. I don't want to hear it, man. I don't want to hear it. Don't say it out loud.
Second best running back draft of the scheme, because I think the Chiefs taking Edwards-Helaire was the best to true scheme.
Yeah.
But Dobbins and the Ravens try-back offense is going to be absolutely insane, right? You get a faster, probably more prolific rusher at this point in his career than Mark Ingram, who I could easily see J.K. Dobbins taking over the running back spot for them like by week 6, right? So he can block, he can catch, he comes from the Urban Meyer system, and we all know what those running backs do. So I'm big on them. I'm not even going to run through the full list for time's sake in regards to the other guys they drafted later in the draft. Biggest loser for me, the Green Bay Packers. And it's not because they took Jordan Love and they traded up for him. It's because I look at it like this. The Green Bay Packers was one game away from playing in the Super Bowl in Miami in the 305. And they were royally dominated, not once but twice, by the San Francisco 49ers. And you ask yourself, why did they get dominated? I can give you 2 reasons. Their offensive line failed to do absolutely anything against the front 4. Okay, I understand. They got weapons. The Niners' defensive line is insane. But the same Chiefs team played that line, and we've seen what happened. Talent wins.
Yep.
And failure to put talent around Aaron Rodgers is exactly why that team has now regressed, in my opinion. When Devontae Adams was able to cook Richard Sherman, didn't do anything for them. They still got torched. You needed another guy alongside. So to not actually take T. Higgins, who we think could be a number 1 receiver at 6'4", to not take Pittman, who we know was an amazing pick for the Colts, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And to draft A.J. Dillon with guys like Denzel Mims still on the board in the second round to be a number 3 running back for the Green Bay Packers, it's probably – I'm so disappointed that I ran, in Pop Warner, I won 3 championships with the Lincoln Vet Packers, right across Bay Boulevard. I used to wear the cheese head, and I'm absolutely befuddled by what the hell's going on. And then in round 3, when there's still more talent out there, they went and got a backup tight end. Man, I'm confused. Matt
Okay.
LaFleur he's already put his flag in the ground. Aaron Rodgers is on the clock.
I hate to cut you off, MVP, but we're real short for time. I got one.
Hold on. Real
question.
quick, Carl. One thing real quick. Listen, to piggyback off of that, 37 wide receivers drafted. in this year's
37.
draft. That means each team could have had one. 5 teams would have had 2. Packers had 0. A.J. Dillon, 21 receptions in 3 years at BC.
Okay,
Doesn't make
so
sense.
final question, just a real quick take. Are you guys nervous that there may not be any NFL? There may be a delay because of the COVID. Are we still in the favor that football will start on time, or is anyone getting a little nervous seeing how everything is going on? Travis,
Nah.
no.
No, I'm not getting nervous, man. I still think we good. I still think by the fall, we're gonna have fans in the stands and players on the field.
Okay, Rick, are you nervous for any fans in the stands or anything? A delay?
I'm confident that the season will get underway regularly. I don't think the season will be delayed. I'm not 100% sure that we'll have fans in the stands immediately, but I think the season's going to be just fine.
MVP, nervous? No, you're good?
Nah, no nerves on this side, baby. Good thing that the Super Bowl, the playoffs start in December and the regular season starts in September. I think we got time.
All right, Ray, nervous or you're still fine? You're good.
Good. It's gonna
Ray,
start.
nervous or you're good?
Nah, I'm not nervous. I don't think that the season's going to start on time, but I'm not nervous because I think eventually they're going to start up.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining me on the
Wait, Carl. One thing. Shout out to my Michigan Wolverines, 10 draft picks.
Oh, that's another topic.
Let's go.
God.
That's another topic.
How you got 10 draft picks?
You get your team incomplete. Get out of here.
You got 10 draft picks and don't win no games.
Listen, Ray, if you want to do the first ever college football segment on the Sports Hit List, I'm all for it. We haven't done one yet. So if you want to do a college football segment, I'm with it. Gentlemen,
Hey, I'm
thank
in
you
it.
for
Florida
joining
State
me on
coming
this
back.
Zoom. Say it again, Rick.
I said I'm with it. Florida State on the comeback.
All right,
Wow.
guys, thank you for joining me on the Sports Hit List. By the fans and for the fans, please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe all over social media. Just Google us and we pop up. Sports HL on Instagram, and this video will be up in about an hour or so, so you guys can share it all over the place. Thank you for joining me. Take care.
Catch you later, man.
Yeah.
Later.